Hello and welcome to episode 7 of Audiologues. This one was so much fun. We had the pleasure of chatting with Akash the Car. If you don't know him, he's worked on such games as Hyperlight Drifter, Outer Wilds, High on Life, and of course, what we're talking about today, Possessors from Heart Machine. He told us some stories about how he met Heart Machine super early in his career and how they built a collaborative relationship together, and he talks about his absolutely insane way of taking notes. It's very interesting. So all that and so much more. Hope you enjoy it. Welcome to the podcast, Akash.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, nice to see you here. Thanks for joining Dan and I.
Oh,
what is up today? How are you?
Oh, I'm good. This is literally the first thing I'm doing today, which is great. I just get like a nice little boost to my morning. So this is just wonderful.
That's pre-coffee or coffee was the first
during
thing?
Because it's right here. So it's So gradually you'll
Nice.
see a ramp to my energy throughout.
Right.
Try and spot when it
Love to
happens.
see it.
Yeah. So are you deep in a project at the moment?
I am.
Maybe you can't disclose that.
Yes, I can't say what it is, but I am deep in a new project where I'm doing more kind of audio direction stuff, like more in that area of things. So it's early days where everything is just gray cubes, and I get to plan systems and think of what anything will even be at all, and help budget and help think about what's voiceover going to look like. Here's what you need to think about in terms of contracts, all that sort of stuff, which is actually fun for me. I like that a lot.
Yeah. It's not just designing sounds. It's thinking about all these other things.
All the other things, which I very much enjoy. It's actually fun for me for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to think about all the things that could be before you actually have to do them.
Yes, exactly. And then you have to also step in big. Wait. No. We do need middleware, please, for the love of God. When the programmer's like, no, I can make my own, which so many projects do.
Right. Yeah.
It happens. Yeah.
It sounds like the fun part is either now or after or both.
It's both
or none of the above.
It's a lot of social stuff too, where it's like, now, let me sit down with you, dear sir. This is why you don't want to program this from scratch. And then they're like, oh, yeah, that sounds awful. Okay. I don't want to make a stinger system for the music. You're right. What did we learn?
You don't want to reinvent everything?
Yeah, in a worse way with no interface for no reason.
But it's your own thing now.
But now it's your own. All that matters.
I'm sure at this point you have like a script ready to just.
I do. I
tell them.
I do a screen capture of just me using Wise or Fmod or whatever I plan to put in the game, and go like, all right, so here are the features I'm going to need if you want to program this by hand. And just go through 100 of them. Like, all right, so let me know when that's going to be done. And then I get a mysterious message saying, somehow we figured out how to get Fmod in. Oh, weird. Interesting. You said it was impossible before, but now, it took 24 hours. Weird.
Yeah, they see that video and be like, oh, how much does it cost? No problem.
Okay, great.
Let's just do that.
Yeah, a few $1,000. Okay.
Well worth it.
Well worth it.
For sure.
Yes, we are here to talk about stuff like Fmod and Wise, but
Absolutely.
we are also here to talk about a special project that you worked on called Possessors.
Yay.
Yeah.
Possessor. Is that how it's pronounced? Like
bracket,
the S?
yeah.
Like
yeah, it's Possessors. but not.
Okay.
But it doesn't
Good to know.
belong. It's not Possessor apostrophe. It's just Possessors.
Right. Possessor or possessors. Spoiler alert in the title that maybe something will happen in the story later on. I don't know. With
Who's
more
to
than
say?
one possessor.
Right. Who's to say?
Who knows? Yeah. But I guess before we, dive into the project and all the juicy stuff that we can talk about there, we usually kind of ask questions about our guests and who they are, where they come from.
Oh, sure.
I feel like most folks who listen to this or watching this probably know who you are.
Oh.
You're kind of like the
Oh,
game audio guru. I feel like
You're
when
too
I
kind.
first started getting to, I'm not. You are too good. When I first started into game audio, I remember researching game audio on YouTube, and your face was the first one that popped up,
oh, thanks.
giving advice to folks like me at the time. So I'm sure a lot of people know who you are, but yeah, tell us something about you that maybe people don't know.
Yeah. So, well, you two know this, but I am from the meth capital of Canada, born in Fredericton, New Brunswick. So not too far from Montreal. But so I grew up there with a giant beard and long hair and played metal drums all throughout my upbringing.
Hell yeah.
Then eventually ended up going to music school and wanting to do music performance, and then was like, oh, wait, this is an extroverted activity, and I'm not one of those. And then ended up quitting that during kind of the peak of it after I was playing with Nobuo Uematsu. So that was a crazy thing. And then started teaching kind of myself how to do game audio, but at the same time, there's this burgeoning video game audio community at Berklee College of Music in Boston. So it was like this ragtag group of rebels kind of teaching ourselves how to do it. Luckily, Disaster Piece just happened to be a part of it. So it was like a pretty cool crew that came out of there. And then as we were kind of finishing up, we got a game audio professor. So that helped a lot. I mean, Michael Sweet, he's great. He's wonderful. And then that kind of helped kind of push me into a career. And everyone else went to LA after graduating, but that's where musicians and audio people go to die. So I went to Seattle. And so I decided to go here where no one else was going. Absolutely, I knew nobody. And it kind of worked out because every other audio person here who worked in games was tied up at a company. There were no freelancers at the time. I was literally the only one anybody could find. So that worked out because I didn't know what I was doing, nor was I good, but I was the only option. So hooray. That kind of started the ball rolling on a lot of tiny, tiny, tiny indie games, many of which went nowhere. But it paid my rent just barely every single month. So that's kind of how the snowball started rolling in 2012 when I moved out here.
Right. So 2012, indie games were maybe a little bit newer at that time. I
Yes.
guess like Xbox
Arcade.
Xbox Arcade. Yeah. What year was that around? It was
like 2010 onwards. Yeah, like Braid came out around then, and then Castle Crashers and all those classics was that era. So I got kind of lucky that indie games were brand new at the time. And,
Right.
like what's new is old again and all that sort of stuff, because we're in that cycle again of all the AAAs exploding and going off to make indie games. So it's just happening again. And when people are like, oh, the industry's over, I'm like, no. You weren't there in 2010 when every AAA shut down at the exact same time and this happened again. It's just happening again, but worse.
That's interesting. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah. I definitely do see an uptick in smaller indie games being made with less focus on that sort of like cutting edge, next gen type of quality, willing to sort of be a little rough around the edges to have and retain character.
Yeah.
In a sort of game.
A
And when I
single
think of-
player game that's complete is insane, is like brand new again. Like no one knew that was a thing. And I've been like since 2014, 15, since live service became a thing. I was like, guys, stop it. And no one listened. And here we are back. And people are like, whoa, what's single player? That's new. Well, you can just play the game and unlock stuff. That's amazing. So it's come around. We're back.
Yeah.
And
It's funny
this is
to
my
see
favorite.
it's funny to see how things went from like AAA was going towards the sort of quadruple A or whatever the
Yeah.
name people were starting to give it, and now it's like actually now it went back and now it's the double A stuff.
Double A.
That's cool.
Yeah. Double A
It's
is
like, okay,
cool.
the triple still exists, but yeah.
Yeah, Space Marine 2 is my favorite double A example of just like ragtag group. It was like made in Belarus for the most part, which is wild. And then like it's so good, and it costs like 1/5 the amount that Doom cost, but it's amazing, and it's like tight start to finish, and it's a complete product. So I like that that's becoming a thing again.
Yeah, it's definitely it's exciting. It's an exciting moment in in games at the moment. Yeah. So yeah, you're painting this picture like 2012. You're out of Berkeley. You're working with Disaster Piece. I guess this is around the time you met, the folks at Heart Machine. How did that sort of how'd that happen?
So after college, like Disaster Piece and I weren't like best friends or anything. We just like knew each other and hung out. But then like he moved to, I believe, LA or like San Francisco-ish area, I think soon after, or stayed in Boston. I can't quite remember his journey. But he ended up being on Hyperlight Drifter. This is 2014 or 13, I think. And I saw the Kickstarter pop up. I was like, I know that guy. And I just emailed him, so scared. Like my hands were literally shaking sending the email. I was like, you guys looking for a sound designer for this thing? And he thankfully responded and wasn't like, who are you? And said,
that's amazing.
Like, yeah, which is great. And was like, yeah, I'll throw your name in. I'll just tell the director that you exist. And because we're literally just talking about this the other week. So he, gets me in touch with the director, Alex Preston. We chat and he's like, okay, let's like, you have like, we're doing this demo for Minecon, which is Minecraft Con. And again, no idea if that exists, still exists, but they had a little booth that they're going to show off because the Kickstarter was doing really well and it was already getting a lot of publicity. So they had a little demo, like a combat demo to show off, and they needed sound for it. And he's like, all right, like you have about a week-ish, maybe 2-ish weeks to get some sound in, and we'll see if we're a good fit for one another. And thankfully it worked out, but I didn't know this at the time. At first, with the few first sounds that I kind of submitted to the director, I would give them and he would give me some feedback. And internally in his brain, he was thinking, no, this guy isn't it. This isn't the guy. So I had no idea that that's what he was thinking. He told me this later. So I just kept iterating, just not knowing, in blissful ignorance. And especially it was the sword sounds in particular that he's like, we should find some other sound designer. But I kept iterating on them. I think it's version 3 or 4 that I just kind of was like, I don't think this is it. It's not quite fitting. Like I didn't even think it was very good. By version 3 or 4, which is what is in the game now, is what kind of I submitted. I was like, I think this is it. Let me just put this in. And then he was like, it all clicked. And that's what kind of got me the gig and made it all settle in and, secured it for me.
Curious, how did the first iteration sound?
Yeah,
for these? Because the reaction sounded pretty negative.
Yeah, it wasn't
so I'm just assuming it's very different.
Yeah. He wasn't screaming at me like this is garbage or anything, but it wasn't quite right. And it was very. I still have them, but they were very just stereotypical swords, just metallic whooshes, nothing too crazy, no energy, no acceleration, no curves to them or anything like that. So it's very just, what's the word, generic. So that's kind of how it started. And then, of course, that wasn't right for an energy sword. Of course. Right. And it makes all the sense in the world now.
So you had all these iterations. You were unaware that they didn't like the initial versions of it. What was the kind of thing that sort of just made it click? Did you have to change your sort of mindset, or did you have to change how you approach the sound? Do you remember that moment?
I do remember because up until then, all the sound design assignments we had been given in Berkeley were realistic, quote unquote. So it was redesign the scene from a movie or from this very realistic Call of Duty trailer, stuff that was all AAA realism stuff. So that's all I knew. And I hated it. I hated every second of it. I can even recall a conversation I had with a friend saying, I am never going to be a sound designer. I literally said that. Because I hated every second of it, because it's it's cloth, so I gotta record cloth. But God
Yeah,
bless
yeah.
Foley artists. I wanted to blow my brains out. But the flip that happened was, oh wait, I can do whatever I want. And that's when it clicked. And, the game's obviously very anime inspired and I love anime. So that all clicked of just being like, I can just put in anything here and it's fine and it's cool. Oh, here we go. And that kind of informs me to this day. If you ask me like, let's do some Call of Duty footsteps, I'll be like, oh no, that's quite all right. I'll actually walk into the sea. But if it's stylized and weird, that is actually more the bag that I personally enjoy.
Yeah, that's a liberating feeling when you feel like anything I can throw at it, anything I throw at it, I can shape it into something that will be interesting.
Exactly.
And I'm guessing that also comes a bit from, direction from the client, this being Heart Machine in this case, where they give you that space, I guess, to experiment. I imagine it's not that case for every client you work with.
No, I was lucky. Like Alex is a very good director. He's very good at pulling up references or like media that he likes that's like weird and obscure, but you understand as soon as he shows it to you, or just like giving ideas and feedback. Like I still remember to this day, he described Hyperlight Drifter as neon nightmares, which is I think the most perfect two-word description of any project I've ever been on still to this day. And it's like, oh, there it is. Like, click. You just instantly know what to do as soon as he says that. And that you're like, is this Neon Nightmares? Yes, no, iterate. Like, you just know exactly if you're in the ballpark or not right away. So I think his direction helped a lot, and his patience helped a lot too, because there are some sounds that had like 80 variations because the game kept changing. So there's that. Like, it wasn't just the same animation over and over. But also, whereas like, this doesn't work. Damn it. And I just kept trying, and everyone was cool with it because it was a ragtag group of 9-ish of us making our first game together. We had all made games before, but our first together, and then just figuring it out, just like kind of like a bowling ball bouncing between those two little like bumpers on the gutters. Like, we can't get into the gutter, but we could just keep bouncing left and right, and hopefully we get in the middle eventually. That's kind of what it felt like.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
Yes. Yes.
Almost falling, but not falling.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
Exactly. Just constant almost falling until it came out.
I love the Neon Nightmare, and makes me think of today's topic. And okay, so Neon Nightmare is probably the best way to define the aesthetics of Hyperlight Drifter. Is it the same, or is it something different for Possessors?
I think it's similar. We had another thing that came up during Possessors was demon space magic.
Okay.
So similar,
Okay.
similar 2-3 word descriptors. That's like, oh, okay, all right. It just makes you nod a little bit and say, I see. So that's kind of where we came at the angle for Possessors, but I think that like neon, colorful spookiness has carried for every game that Heart Machine has made.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious because when I was playing Possessors, I know it's a different world and everything, but I still felt the kind of DNA even within the sound effects that I'm like, oh yeah, this is totally in that same kind of Heart Machine, Hyperlight Drifter kind of style. I mean, did you pull from similar sources? I know the wire recording that you.
Oh, sure.
I talked about this a bunch already, but did you pull out the wire recording for this?
Not for this one. Unfortunately, it was a quicker process than Drifter because Drifter had 3 years because we didn't know. We just kind of kept making a game until it came out. Yeah, exactly. This one, I personally only had about like a year and a half because I was on Hyperlight Breaker, and then there was another sound designer who actually ended up quitting, all positive reasons, like nothing bad happened. But he like ended up quitting because he got another job offer. So then I had to finish up my work on Breaker and then go on Possessor. So it was a little messier in terms of scheduling. But I basically had a bunch of placeholder sounds that the previous sound designer made, a bunch of like sounds that did make it into the game, a few of them, and then had to just kind of go and replace and create and finish this game with the rest of the team because there were some things that weren't done until the very last moment, including some, enemies or bosses or levels or things like that just needed to be done at the exact same time as the sound and the environment, or the sound and the boss were done at like basically the same time. So very skin of
it
my
was
teeth.
it was a relatively short, like even outside of your work on the
Yeah.
project, it seems like it was a
Yeah.
relatively short production.
Yeah.
Even for me, I feel like Possessors kind of came out of, I don't want to say nowhere, but
Right.
you seeing Solar Ash come out, seeing Hyperlight Breaker, they're like, oh, they have this other one, Possessors. It seemed like it was like a back pocket move
It was. Yeah.
for Heart Machine to be like, we also have this Metroidvania.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was in development for a little while, but not full time with a full staff. Like it was this tiny team for a little bit. And that it kind of was like, okay, once Breaker is done, we will like reveal this, but it'll kind of percolate in the background. So that was kind of the strategy.
How big was the team? Like when it entered production in like full steam?
Oh yeah. I think like when it was like full steam, probably like 30-ish, I would say.
Okay,
but
so
that's my
still
guess. I could be
relatively
wrong.
small.
Yeah, still relatively small, and maybe closer to 40, but I could be wrong on that, so don't quote me. So someone might text me and be like, "It was actually 67, you fool." Like I don't know for sure.
Okay. I mean, was it a smaller production size than Breaker?
Yes,
And
yes.
Solar Ash? Because I'm guessing the 3D stuff
Right, exactly.
usually comes with more. Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And like people were still developing Breaker while Possessors was being finished. So there were people who were just permanently on Breaker. But I was more flexible because audio is flexible in that way. So I could bounce between.
Right. Yeah, it seems
Yeah.
like it's definitely a departure a bit from those early days of Heart Machine just working on a single thing with a core group of people. Now, and I guess this is a thing that maybe more indies or double A's are doing is trying to work on multiple games at the same time, have these kind of back pocket games, because I mean, the industry is crazy.
It's
You never
wild.
know what's going to happen. You put out, I feel like you see a lot of games put out live service type material thinking, hey, this is going to do great. It sometimes doesn't because who knows, right?
Who
It's
knows?
it's a wild, wild west. And so a lot of these studios you're seeing having smaller side projects and that kind of thing, which I'm assuming maybe was a similar case here.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's exactly that. And it's also like, you know, it's probably similar to literally all of us, where if you work on one thing forever, it can be really exhausting. So sometimes having that secondary outlet is just like a nice psychological thing to be able to rely on too. Even if it is just a fun little prototype that can be just the nice thing to have and keep you working on the main thing more. It's like how Google, back when they were like good at anything and not evil, they used to do that thing where they would pay you for 30% of like time where you can just F around. And that's how Gmail exists. That's how Google Doc exists. They would just pay you to invent things that you thought of and you don't have to tell anyone. You can just do it on the side. And that's when it was good. So, and now they don't do that anymore, and it's bad.
Yeah. For yourself, do you take time to do that? Have your side projects, have things on the burner, back burner? Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar to what you guys are doing. I have the podcast and stuff. So that is kind of the outlet, like podcast, YouTube channel, online courses. That is
Great podcast, by the way.
Oh,
Anyone
thanks.
listening?
I mean, I
Amazing
don't know. I
podcast.
need to match
Just
your. I'm going to learn a lot from you guys. You're going to put out this episode, but God damn it. Damn
No,
it.
they should just pause this, go right over there, listen to every single one, then come back.
I'll listen.
Yeah.
I'll listen to
It's
this
mandatory.
episode and then crush a wine glass in my hand out of rage. Like, they did so much better than me. I'll turn into the Green Goblin, essentially, is what I'm saying. I've been reading a lot of comic books, so very Green Goblin pilled. But
Right. Getting the Willem Dafoe energy there.
Oh, thank you. He's perfect. He's born for it.
He is.
Yeah, it's like all that sort of stuff, like the educational stuff, the YouTube, all that is very fun and very freeing. Like there's even a to-do list on one of my monitors over here that's like, film some B-roll of you petting your dog for your next video. I'm like, oh, that's gonna be fun. So I do like having that as an outlet.
Yeah. It's fun also to have something like the podcast or any creative, I guess, ventures that are not tied to the business of making games. Because right now it feels like the times are so up and down and crazy that, it's relaxing almost.
It is. Yeah. And like, it's this weird thing where when you like, for the podcast that you're all doing or whatever side things people do, it's like, there's this long tail on it that you literally cannot expect that is just nothing but nice surprises. Like I'm sure people will come up to you and be like, I love audio logs. It's so cool. And you're like, oh, I forgot I did it. I just do it for me. Cool. Thanks, dog. And that's a nice thing. It's a nice thing where you're not expecting anything out of it, but still get returns, that as opposed to working for, a client or direct income or anything like that, where you're like, okay, well, I have expectations of this. The expectations have been met and my brain is still neutral. I have gotten what I have expected. Therefore I continue. Like, it is just very much more rote in that way.
Especially after so many years of doing the game audio thing. I don't want to say the magic leaves, so hopefully it's always there, but I don't know. For me, that first year was magical. It was like everything I was learning was mind blowing. I was so excited about everything, and I still am.
Yeah.
But that freshness is hard to maintain. You kind of have to look elsewhere to sort of keep it up.
Yeah.
And hopefully it makes its way back into your day job. You're like, hey, that's really cool. Actually, my job is really cool.
Yes, exactly. Like, you'll see someone else be like, I'm just going to crossfade a few convolution reverb plugins in this way. You're like, oh, my job isn't a joke job for clowns. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Neat.
Yeah, it feels like it's such a bigger game than I was expecting.
Yeah,
playing it like in preparation for this recording today, I was just like, okay, I was not expecting the game to be this long. I've played, I don't know, maybe 12 hours, and I'm like, wow. Yeah, I don't see the end or anything yet. So I'm just like, okay, it's big coming out of like a studio that says like, maybe this is the side project, this was the back pocket thing, this is a smaller one, like. It's pretty substantial.
It's pretty big.
So, yeah, it feels like even the size of the teams, like whether it's 30, 40, or 67, like you were like ballparking before,
right?
Still feels like this is a big game. There's like this impression that because it's 2D maybe or 2.5D, that it's like a small game or like I don't know, something lesser, time consuming and team demanding. But turns out that. No, it's not. It's so big.
It's big.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were lucky that we had really good like environmental artists, narrative designers, programmers. Like, everyone was very invested in it, which is good. And I think that allowed it to grow and become bigger than, it quote unquote should be for a smaller indie game that's like more on the side. So that helped. And also Hyperlight Breaker, for example, is like 4-player multiplayer with matchmaking. That's really hard. Going back to a single player game and just being like, oh, your character's always in the center of the frame. Neat. It's just so refreshing. Cool. And I think that makes it easier too for people. Not to say any game development is easy, but there are things you just don't need to consider with a 2D game, which was lovely.
So on the audio, you give a quick description before we go anywhere else of what Possessor is? Because I just realized some folks probably don't know what it is or heard of it, but just haven't played it yet. So
yeah.
I'd like to hear your pitch.
Putting me on the spot. It's a 2.5D Metroidvania that is very anime horror themed. And I like to say it has a lot of sexy demons in it, like the sort of deal where you'd see someone with shirtless but with suspenders and an overcoat on top. So that whole thing. So it is very sexy demon anime Metroidvania. 2D and in the similar Heart Machine style, like neon colors, darker bent in the story, more horror-ish, but not like jump scares or anything like that, and tends to go more towards darker storytelling themes.
Yeah, it is dark. There's that cinematic at the intro where people are dying and there's like yells in the background and you're like, okay, like you had to go somewhere.
All right.
Very dark to make it.
Yes, very dark. Yes, it is darker. And that's true of all the Heart Machine things, which I weirdly, because I'm such a sunny person, I just actually really like working on darker narrative things.
Right. Something I really appreciate about the aesthetic of Heart Machine games is to leave a little bit to the imagination. When I think about Hyperlight at the beginning cinematics, there's not, it's not fully told to you what the story is, and it's very much impressionistic with the images you're seeing. And I felt the kind of same way in the beginning cinematic of this game, where You see the demon. I guess he's like holding
Yeah.
the girl, and her legs are ripped off, and not every sound is, designed. There's a lot of space there. There's a lot of impressionism, I guess. How much of that was really sort of thought of, codified, or how much was that just pure gut feeling of like, yeah, this just feels right?
Yeah, most of it's gut feeling. And I think it comes from doing this style for a little while of just like, I don't think there should be something here. You just kind of go with your gut and test it out, obviously, in game and realize, okay, yeah, that was the thing. Or, oh, wait, no, this is kind of empty feeling. But yeah,
Yeah.
it is mostly gut feeling. I don't think we have any sort of, we've tried having like a sound design, like document or Bible, or like, here is the direction. And there are some things that applies to for very specific things like weapon attacks. Like we don't want them to be too long, like stuff like that. But there's no, here is our exact style guide. We are pulling from these exact references all the time. There is a lot of vibes that you go off
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
So why do you think that is? Why do you think there is no documentation? Is it because the folks working on it know it so well to begin with? Like yourself, for example, who has a relationship with these folks.
Sure.
You've been working with them for a while.
Yeah.
Is it just transparent? Does anyone joining the project be like, I know this style?
Good question. Yeah, so I should say that's just from the audio end of things. Like if I go over to the narrative end, I'm like, oh my God, you're like,
Okay, right.
you guys are discussing if forks are canon in this world. Okay, you're all like into it. Okay, this is great. But audio wise, I think for me, this is just for me. I'm always, every time I've tried, I've always been wrong. Not in the sense of, oh, the sound is bad now because I tried to guess at what our codifications are, but there's always more room or more kind of references that I'm pulling from that I think I am. So I'll be like, oh, okay, here's a few things that we're pulling from. Here's like a general style. And then I'll start off designing another weapon sound, and it doesn't follow any of those rules, but it still ends up being neat. So that's something that I've noticed for me personally, where every time I've tried to at least codify my own thing, but it just, I always guess it wrong for my own stuff, which is funny. But when I go with my gut and be like, I think I'm going to put a walrus layer, that tends to make things better.
Yeah.
Ah, I like hearing how you trust your instincts. Basically, it sounds like when it comes to the craft and like the artistry behind making your sounds. But you also sound like you're very organized. And when you were talking about sound direction, I guess in that aspect, maybe it's a bit more of a let's get the framework established and thinking about like guidelines and pillars and
exactly
all that stuff.
Yeah, like the core technical stuff and the like, timings and all that sort of stuff is very easily codified. But when it becomes to tone, it gets harder and harder.
You can't retrofit a rule set on something that you've already felt and expressed.
Right, exactly. It's tougher. It's tough in this circumstance. There are other times where it's easy, but here it was tough.
Yeah, I think that's just goes to show how specific the style is for these Heart Machine games, that it's hard to sort of quantify what it is. It's not easy to describe in words sometimes.
Yeah, like
and also go for it.
The audio director and I, Alex Johnson, he and I, like both on Hyperlight Breaker and on Possessors, did have a lot of back and forth of like, what the fuck is this? and at the end of the conversation, we do talk about like Alex is an amazing sound designer. So we would talk about techniques and ideas and ways of processing and all that sort of stuff. And then we'd end up with like, that was really cool. We learned a lot from each other. Next conversation, what the fuck is this? Like, it's still like we thought of really cool
Alex
ways.
Johnson being
Alex Johnson.
He was audio director,
audio director, lead. I always get the titles mixed up, but one of those two.
Right.
I think lead, I guess, would be the title. At Heart Machine. So he was on Breaker for a while. And then I was on Possessors as the main person after the original sound designer left. And then Alex came in to help near the end with like ambiences and, some abilities here and there, mixing, that sort of stuff.
Right. Cool. So then, yeah, how big of a audio team? We talked about like the team being 60, but like audio wise, it sounds like it was just a few of you.
Yeah, so audio wise at the studio, so it was me, Alex Johnson, Horacio, who's an audio programmer, and then composers on Possessors were Sky Lu and Joel Korlitz. And then on similar for Hyperlight Breaker, but there's also a composer on Breaker named Troop Gamage who also worked on Solar Ash.
Right.
Yeah.
So a fairly small team.
Yeah.
So like a year and a half, small team, big game.
Yeah.
Lots of content to make.
Lots of content. Yeah.
What was probably the most time-consuming sort of food group of that of the audio experience?
Yeah, so other than like the technical stuff, which Horacio helped with so much, there's also the monster sounds, which we needed a lot of. So there are a lot of enemies, a lot of different varieties of them. There's, like big versions or like palette swap versions, or this one explodes, So we had to make a lot of monster voices for a lot of them because we needed something that communicated, I'm about to attack, to the player, because this is a very parry heavy game. So there had to be something that could stick out from all the other sounds and tell the player you're about to be hit that isn't just going to get washed away in the combat sound. So voices ended up being that. So monster voices was, I think, the biggest time sink in terms of any of the categories now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah.
How do you approach designing like the attack sound or vocalization for like a filing cabinet that's possessed or like those kind of things?
Yeah. So at first it was a lot of just stubbing, meaning putting in just whatever sounds exist. Like I can pull it from a library and just, doesn't matter what it is. Put it in, make sure it works. Okay, cool. But then from there I had to have all the monster sounds like within easy reach. And then make it so that I could think, okay, this one's a filing cabinet with teeth. It should probably sound a little metallic because it's a filing cabinet, but I do want it to be a voice. Let me play it amongst all these other voices and make sure it stands out so people can hear that's a filing cabinet coming at me. So I would have to kind of bounce them off from one another quite a lot, or like make test levels of just throwing in a bunch of enemies and be like, all right, there's 12 enemies here of random types. Let's hear them all scream at once. That sort of thing, and then just iterating over and over just to make sure, as long as they all sounded different enough from one another, that was kind of the goal.
Right. Okay. So nice. It sounds like the monster, as it was, like the entity being like a filing cabinet or being like a human that's possessed, was secondary to that. The need to have feedback for combat and have something that's readable, something that sounds like demon attacking,
like
then you'd add the qualities.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'd add the qualities later. Okay. It was important because obviously, we wanted it to feel somewhat, disconcerting or possessed or whatever it may be. But yes, it was like first things first was like get the information across, then we can tweak, then we can iterate. I can even look at my notes and you'll see like V1, V2, V3, V4, V5 of like these monster sounds. That's like, okay, it's good enough for now, but now it needs to really stand out. Now it needs to sound very different from this other monster. So yeah, I think those also had probably the most iteration.
Right. I guess naturally.
Was it tricky? Oh,
well, I was just saying naturally that these enemies are so different from each other. You have a filing cabinet. You have that one dude who throws mice at you.
Oh yeah,
keyboard
the Rat
mice,
King, we called him.
Oh, really? Okay,
Oh,
nice. Yeah. Yeah, such different palettes. I mean, it sort of lends its hand to different colors and that kind of thing. But monster sound. So I think you recorded yourself? You recorded a lot of your voice for these as well?
Yeah, I recorded a lot of my voice. There is some library stuff in there too to like mix in like, metallic elements, or like I needed a walrus and I can't sound like that. Stuff like that is in there.
Yeah, well, that's super interesting, like blending voice, organic voice, and just the weird stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, and
the
it
meaning
allows
of those
for
two.
it allows for like performance, because like, you know, you record a seal or a walrus or something, it sounds the way it sounds. It has the inflection it sounds. But if you need it to sound like I'm asking a question and I'm a walrus, you can blend your own performance of your own voice into it. So you maybe go up at the end or something like that when you're recording. And I'm not like a particularly great monster voice actor or anything like that, but just having an element that you can control and perform goes a really long way to getting inflections on whatever it is you're making.
Right. Yeah. Did you use some kind of like, what are those molding?
No, I didn't use any of those tools. I probably should have, but I just didn't. But I did just do it all by hand and just like splice and crossfade and like process my voice such that it blended with whatever library stuff that I happen to be using. Next time I'll be smarter and use one of those melding plugins. But I did also record a lot with an ultrasonic microphone, that Sanken CO100K. So that gave a lot of room for playing around when you have something recorded beyond the range of human hearing, because then when you pitch it down, it's like, oh, that just sounds like an ogre, even though into the mic I just went like, rawr. It is the most intimidating thing in the world when you pitch it down. So that also gives a lot of room to play with.
Huh. How was it, the process of just discovering how you were gonna approach the creature design and the monster design in the game?
Yeah.
Sounds like there was a lot of, I guess, unknowns everywhere. Because, again, like the idea of like, you could be fighting the Rat King or a cabinet or a monkey or something. And then it's also aesthetically with the game.
Yes.
It's not real, like,
Dan loves the
realism.
cabinet.
So you're...
Oh, you love the cabinet.
I love it.
It's right. I mean,
It surprised me. I laughed out loud when I first saw it. I was like, what
that's very good.
is this?
I love it. So yeah, it's funny. The discovery process of it wasn't like sitting down and looking at the moon and having a glass of wine or something. It was because we had so little time. It was just, okay. And then because of deadlines, I was forced to just be, let's try it. Nope. Let's try it. Nope. Okay. Yeah, that was good. And then just kind of going on from there. So there was kind of a benefit to having a tighter timeline. Of just being forced into iterating really, really, really fast until you quote unquote got it. That helped a lot. So yeah, it was honestly a lot of like, all right, this is a Rat King. It throws mice. It's kind of robotic, has a TV for a head. Let's make it sound like a weird dark transformer. All right, that kind of worked. Let's go in that direction a little more. And then you just go as fast as you humanly can. All right, Rat King's done. Let's go into this. And it was a lot of that, which is good because I didn't have a lot of time to think, which, I mean, it wasn't this breakneck pace where I was dying or anything, but it's like I was forced not to be in the perfectionist mindset that all of us get into, where you're tweaking this knob and then you make it's like, oh, it should be negative 6.3 cents on the pitch shifter. That's what's going to do it. And then you realize it's the worst sound in the world and you've been tweaking it for 10 hours. So I didn't have that luxury, which helped.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, sounds like it's a fun process of tossing things and seeing if they stick.
Yeah.
Which I'm very much like that too. So I'm glad to hear it, because I feel like there's always this stigma of like, you didn't look at the moon with your wine of Cabernet or something. So like, okay, you tossed things like library pulls and like layered your voice, or like you making fart sounds or whatever. So yeah, I mean those work. So
those work, and
good to hear.
Yeah. I think that's yes. There is a stigma, like people think you have to get it right the first time, and it has to be inspired by your childhood and all this sort of stuff. Like, no, sometimes you just gotta drag a brick across the floor and say, all right, there it is, and then that you put it in the game.
More often than not, when you have too much time with the thing, you get to a point where it's like, oh, this is good now. This is shippable. Put it in the game, whatever it may be, and then you kind of go back and you start making it worse. It's nice having a short timeline, a sort of box that you can play in.
I liken it to a haircut. Like at a certain point, the haircut's done. If you keep chopping, it's going to look worse and worse and worse and worse. So
no hair,
no more hair. So you got to just stop at a certain point. And and it's just like a haircut. We're halfway through. You're like, this looks awful. How is this going to be good? And then at the end, you're like, oh, this is fine. But if you keep chopping, oops, bald.
Yeah.
So
chop some on one side and be like, oh, I did too much. Go to the other side.
I'm going to go over here and chop, and then
go to the other side. Yeah.
Yes,
that happens.
It's the first time I think we have an analogy that's not food related on the podcast. So I'm kind of glad to hear.
Happy for it.
How like on point it is, and not food related. It's amazing.
Oh, good.
I think I'm gonna use that one now.
Oh, good. Yeah, use the haircut one. There you go. But I only speak from the privileged point of view of us all three having hair. So there's going to be someone who's bald listening and be like, ooh, shaking their fist at the screen. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, they don't have that problem, so
I guess they don't have to think about it. Yeah, I guess they don't have to worry about it.
yeah,
It's
they're
purely
just
instinct.
Yeah.
moving on from that, you know.
Do I shine today or
Do I-
not?
yeah, do I shine
Matte
it?
or gloss?
Matte or gloss.
It's a different thing.
It's true. It's true. How Lex Luthor do you want to look?
Yeah.
Cracking me up. Oh, man. Okay.
Yeah, cool.
Was there other sounds? Because we talked about master sounds. Was there anything else that was like, I don't know, a highlight or something, like a case study worth like chatting about on the game?
Yeah. I think all the weapons, like the primary weapons for Luca, the main character, because those had to happen fast too, because the animations for the knives are the main weapon that you get early on in the game. Then you get things like a baseball bat and, a hockey stick and a katana and stuff like that later. But they're all items that you could pick up in a mall. So like the katana is like one of those cheap little katanas that you would find at like online for $40 that are like made of quote unquote steel, but aren't really. So we had fun with that. But it was fun to design those a lot, but they did have to come down to the wire. So it was a lot of, those ones were fun because it was a lot of layering within Fmod. So I'd export each layer, like variations of each layer individually. Let's say there's like 3 variations of like the top end of the knife and then middle and bottom end. And, so then they'd all cycle between one another. So we'd have more variations because, layer 1, version 1 might play with layer 2, version 3 at the same time and just cycle between one another. That got us a lot of variety in all the attacks without needing to design a ton of different sounds. So that is something that we did. I know that's a very common technique too, but it was fun to do that and play around with that. And when testing, it was fun to be like, oh, okay, those 2 layers didn't work. Let me figure out what the hell just happened because the timing was off with those. And then tweaking and seeing how that all worked together. But I'm glad that all worked out. But that was kind of the quick version we had to do for some of the later weapons because we needed to sound good. They're weapons. But at the same time... Okay.
A lot of these animations were coming in last minute. I'm guessing you had to retweak these timings. Did you have to redesign a lot of content last minute?
Yeah, not a
accommodate
ton for the weapons, not a ton of redesign, but a lot of tweaking of timings or just, little bits here and there. Like, oh, that sounds kind of heavy. Let me just EQ out some of the lows on this one layer. Stuff like that to make it not stand out too much.
Yeah. And I'm guessing the same would be true for animations for enemies because a game like this, animations are so important to communicate to the player what's happening. And there's a bunch of enemies. So yeah, animation work in general must have been quite the job on this. Did a lot of the enemy animations come in late as well?
Yeah, not so late that it was like, oh no, we're not going to finish. But yeah, later, so that I had to kind of design sometimes blind, where I would have to just pick, I know what the animations are planned to be. Let me make some sounds and put them into Fmod. And once they get the animations in, they'll all hook up together. We'll have to see. And I have to test kind of after the fact because there was no time to wait for the animation and then design. I would have to basically tweak off of what I was guessing from.
That's an interesting problem. It'd be super agile and sort of like, I guess what you were talking about before, having components that are more sort of layer based. Yeah. That way,
exactly.
When these animations come in, you can just sort of plug them in and hope that it works.
Yeah. Sometimes it did. Sometimes it was a happy accident like you get sometimes. You're like, oh, this works perfectly. Thank God I don't have to do anything. And then, but I would say more often than not, it required tweaking of, oh, this could not be more off. Like my sound was way too long or way too short because the animation ended up being way longer than I thought it would. Maybe the description of the animation was like a leaping attack. So I'm like, okay, it probably has an arc to it, like rawr, boom. But it was a huge leap and they would charge up for 20 seconds and then leap, stuff like that would become much clearer once I played. But at least something played, so I knew something was wrong by designing kind of these scratch sounds as opposed to just sitting around and waiting and then not really knowing and then having to design from scratch.
Wait, so how did the system go for these animations? I'm assuming like the tech setup was like existent using those sorts of layers and I guess switches and stuff like that. Because it sounds like you would design or like think of a leap in a way and then see it in game behave differently. Like, did the sound like already attached to it before you got in, or?
Good question. Yeah, so basically it was like the simple Unreal system with like animation cues and sound cues and all that sort of stuff that you can stack watching the animation. So they would take, it was the Fmod that we used, so they would take like the Fmod event, the animators, or in a lot of cases Horacio would be like, all right, I just stubbed it in, like I put in, you know, this creature underscore leap at the start of this animation, and it just starts at the start of the animation. Go with God. Like now start designing. So it basically it would the animation would be put in, or if it was still in a rough state, we could still like at least attach the cues and time it roughly. So then when the animation got replaced, we would just put those same Fmod cues in, and then from there, that's how we kind of tweaked from. So once the animation was quote unquote done, some hooks would already be in there. The Fmod would, or the animation would be queuing and triggering these Fmod events. Cool, I can hear it. It's wrong. Let me tweak it. Was the kind of process.
Nice. Okay. So it's fun because it sounds again like we hear a lot of stories where folks use the middlewares to like what's the word, like empower the sound designers and stuff like that. But in this case, and a lot of cases, I feel like it's good to hear how it made things easy for like tweaking. Like instead of redesigning the whole thing in Reaper and rebouncing or re-rendering stuff, you would just be like, okay, let's adjust the delay in Fmod and
yeah, I could just add a 500 millisecond delay and be like, now it fits, and then be done. It was so much, super helpful to be able to do that.
Man, okay, that's amazing. Because it sounds like everything came like at the end.
Yeah.
It sounds like like you joining the project late.
Right.
Then sort of like, okay, the weapons came in late.
Right.
Everything was that, I don't know. To me, it sounds like you're describing my preferred way of working, of being like close to the deadline to come in with something.
Right.
Only now it's like, I don't know how you feel about this, but it feels like you were sort of like in there, not by choice at this point.
Yeah, like I would have loved to be there
feels...
earlier, but like I was also on Hyperlight Breaker and stuff like that. So it was the sort of thing where honestly this is not too dissimilar from how Hyperlight Drifter got finished. I was making sounds up until like 2 days before release of that game. And I don't think Hyperlight Drifter sounded good until like a month before release. Like I think it sounded pretty bad, but no one needs to know until like a month before when it all just gelled and clicked. So I similar to what you said, Daniel, it is like I kind of like working in that way because afterwards you're like, oh, yay. But then during you're wondering if anything is even worthwhile and if you know how to do this job at all.
I feel like most games are like that. From my experience working even on bigger games, it's the exact same thing. You're like, this is a huge studio making a huge game. How is it not sounding good up until the last month, and everything just goes whoop, and it's fine. It's done. It's like, oh yeah, it's a game.
It's
that
a game.
Whole time it was a game. Yeah.
Apparently, even God of War was like internally they're like, this game's bad up until like 3-4 months before it came out. So, and now look at it, it's God of War. So you never know.
People should come up with fake release dates. So like a year before, everyone makes the game sound and feel great, and then it's like, oh, we have a year of polish now.
We hooray! Yes.
I think that's called extensions.
Yeah, but planning it. I mean, if it's planned,
it's just one secret person knows the true timeline.
Yeah.
We're exposing
up in their ivory tower,
yeah.
being like, "Hoo ha!"
Yeah. To use another comic book reference, it's Doctor Strange with the Time Stone. You see.
Very nice. Very nice. Anything but food references.
Anything but
off
food
the
references.
table. No
off
food
the
references.
table. Comics
off the
and
table.
hair. Oh,
what goes on the table? Oh no.
Oh no.
Food?
You can put comic books on a table.
You can put comic books.
Okay.
I actually have comics on a table over there. It's fine. It's fine.
Oh.
You can put hair trimmings on a table.
Yes,
it's
exactly.
Fine.
Yes, it's fine.
You could eat hair trimmings too. So
it's
food.
protein.
It's food. That's a food reference. Sorry.
Damn it. I've ruined everything.
We should keep track of all the things we said that are like weird and not relevant.
Yes.
Or
yes.
like
And
taken out of
only-
context could be misquoted or something.
Right.
Yes, we need to have
Feel
a
like we'd have-
special episode where it's just
Just out of
just
context.
out these out of context things. That'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Hey, you got 1 million views, so
Yeah.
Ideas
We're gonna
for
start
the
a
future.
Patreon and we're gonna be like making special like behind a paywall exclusive stuff.
exclusive stuff. Yes.
You want to talk about hair? Yeah. No. Okay. Never mind. We're sidetracking here. But I wanted to ask you about your big document that you posted on
Oh, yeah.
LinkedIn. The whole like keeping track of everything. It was me trying awkwardly to do a segue there.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
so
how does that work? And you shed a bit more light on that
Yeah.
for folks that may not be aware of it, because it's hilarious and fascinating at the same time.
Yeah, so I'm a huge. Some people know this term. I'm a huge like second brain nerd. Also, there's another like word for this sort of thing called Zettelkasten or personal knowledge management. Basically, it's a way that is very customizable to make your notes improve over time instead of degrade over time, which is what most people are used to, where you open up Evernote or whatever and you're like, what the hell does shrimp heaven now mean? Like, that's just a note that just says that with nothing else in it. And you just kind of shrug and go like, okay. And then your notes just get worse and worse over time because you have no idea what they mean. This way, and this isn't like I didn't make this up or anything. This has been around for hundreds of years. Is a way of just making it so your notes improve over time. So I use an app, and you can use any app, but I use an app called Obsidian, which is the Reaper for notes, essentially, where you download it. It sucks. It does nothing. It is garbage. You have to use plugins and themes and it's just like Reaper. Like, it is functionless until you put shit in it, and then it's fine. And so basically over years, I've been kind of like tweaking my Obsidian system, and what I landed on was for each project, and projects can be anything. It can be a game, it can be a YouTube video, it could be a series of YouTube videos that are all similar, like it can be anything. I make one giant page for that thing over the course of, in some cases, years. So instead of having pages and sub-pages and sub-sub-pages where it's like, oh, creature sounds, oh, boss creature sounds sub-page, it's just all on one page with headlines saying like, all right, here's the meeting from this date. Here's what I'm planning on this date. Here are my tasks on this date. Here's what I did at this hour. Here's my current thoughts on this sound. Just all in one long scrolling page with the only real organization is the headlines of like the headers of what that chunk and section is about. And I love doing the one page because one, if you have the right plugins, which I did post on LinkedIn, on Obsidian specifically, you can search really easily, really, really, really easily. You don't ever need to wonder, like, where does the frog notes go? No, you have a headline that said frog notes, February 1st. Oh, it's that. Bleh. So easy to find. Two, what's really nice is you can just kind of do like a random languid scroll through it and think like, oh yeah, I did write about this layer that I could put in. Let me just do that now real quick. You don't lose any information. And in fact, you increase the chances of running into random info that can help you later by having it all in one big chunk. This is just me, though. Not everyone needs to do it, but I
it's cool.
really like it. It's been
I guess
a game changer.
What I think of like all your notes being in one area, I think the thing that maybe people will be turned off by that is that, okay, let me look for my notes. You go to one thing and you're like, oh, where is anything? But it sounds like that's not the case. You're not just going to it and scrolling. That's
No,
not
I mean,
happening.
you can, but like I have like a plugin called like Simple Outline or Quiet Outline, something like that, where it just shows like all my heads and subheads where I can just be like, all right, frog sound, there it is. It's all on one page, and I can see what my thoughts were, what the meeting was about the frog sounds. Like it's all there without
that's cool.
ever needing to click. And there's friction with subpages. You see a subpage, you're like, ugh, and you don't want to click. You just don't want to go in there. It's annoying. And then you're like, oh, but this information relates to the thing from 4 pages ago. Like, it's just, there's too much friction in that for my ADHD brain. So having it all in one spot has been molto bene. I love it very much.
I got to integrate those because I was using Notion before.
Yeah, sure.
Because of all those fancy things. And I was like, this is too much. There's friction and like just what to use where and everything.
Yes.
So I was like, I went to Obsidian last year and I was like, this is amazing. But it's just, again, notes with nothing. It's like Notepad that scrolls indefinitely. So I was like, okay, that's fun. That works, but it's confusing. So for project work, I use papers. Just like
awesome.
little booklet.
Amazing.
But no, the thing is, I loved your thread because I was like, the degradation of notes in the time. Like I'm going like improv with this, but it says like I'm trying to make sense of notes. Okay, so project is unannounced.
So I'll look at our notes.
Chase peeps down. Who makes blocks? Microservice speed. I'm like, what does that mean? And this is from like 2 or 3 weeks ago. But I'm like, I'm chasing
so
blocks for speed. What?
That's
nothing
very
makes
good.
sense.
That's
I have like
amazing.
all my notes for like different projects, but they all feel like, yeah, the degradation is something I had
It's
never
real.
thought of before. I thought just writing it down was great, but
Right. It
I've
turns out.
struggled with
I'll use those.
I've struggled so much with note taking too, and
Oh, it
I haven't.
sucks, yeah.
I have to admit, I haven't tried any of these fancy tools,
Right.
but even using some kind of Google Docs or
Yeah.
making spreadsheets for everything, what I find is that it's just I have to open it. And,
You have to open
and
it.
look through this thing and like look through
sucks.
my Google Drives and where is that? Where's this? I honestly have reverted to just using Notepad.
Right.
I find it
Yeah.
so
Simplicity
easy.
is great. Yeah.
But I
But-
think it's time for me to step up and do something else.
It's-
so this
it's
is giving me
nice.
some
Don't
ideas.
step up too high though.
Yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
That's,
That's
what
the
I did with
tricky part.
Notion. I felt like Notion was great, but it was like so complex
Yeah.
to
Right.
get the stuff I wanted the way that I wanted it. And then I was like, yeah, okay. Obsidian's great because it's simple.
It's simple.
Mm.
and it syncs across devices and
Yeah.
stuff. So it's like you can have it on your phone and on your computers, plural. So it's just like, okay,
Yeah.
simple.
What I
Cool.
appreciate about
Local.
these sorts of systems is that they're just for me. I like when I do docs for the team. Yeah, it'll be in Notion. It'll be clean. There will be subpages, that sort of stuff. But for me, which is most of
Yeah.
what I do, I'm a freelancer, so most of things are for me. I will
Right,
just
yep.
kind of do it very like I'm even like on my notes page right now on the right, like there's that YouTube video that I mentioned earlier. It's like the script is there, the list of B-roll is all there, the thumbnails are all there, like it's all in just one blob, and it's awesome. Like I've never made a YouTube video faster than when I put it all in one page, than instead of being like status column done no, F that, go to hell, I hate it.
Yeah.
This also gives you a bit of a reading on what, like, if everything's in one page, whatever happened on a certain day while you were working on something, you could see. And let's say something took you a while to do, and you were like, "Why? What
Yeah.
took me so long that day?" And you can look back and you look at other notes. Oh, look, I was also dealing with this and that.
Yes.
It's all centered into
all
a
there.
certain location. It gives you data on like what that day was like. which is-
Exactly.
yeah.
It's very helpful. Yeah. And if you want to do
Super
a talk
helpful.
later or a YouTube video or whatever on the project 6 years later, you can know, oh, here's exactly what I was thinking about. Here's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
You never, you don't open up a session and go like, how did I design this again? Oh, no.
So much better, so much easier to have a kind of post-mortem on a project
Yes.
afterwards, because you just look through your notes and be like,
Your notes.
right, here was all the stuff I had to deal with. So I'm
Yeah.
guessing for possessors that
That's-
everything is
Everything is in one page. And
all
I
documented.
have this plugin, I think it's called Tasks, that puts a sub window on my Obsidian page, and it just shows, here's the next thing you have to do, and shows nothing else. So it just pulls from the checklist in those big projects. So like, here's the next thing in Possessors. Here's the next thing on your YouTube video. Here's the next thing on this project. So I just see the next action I need to take on all the things I have that day and nothing else. I don't see the whole to-do list unless I want to. So I can just pick, all right, this sound, blip. Okay, cool. This thing, bit. And I can just see one thing at a time as opposed to 300, which is also nice.
okay. Well, we'll have to link this LinkedIn post in the
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
in this video. This is super fascinating.
Oh,
Is there
gosh.
somewhere people can go to sort of see all the plugins you're using? in
Yeah, yeah.
Obsidian is what it's called.
Obsidian is the app I use, but you can use many. Again, I need to be clear that this is just one tool. But yeah, Obsidian's what I
Not a
use. It's
sponsored thing.
not a sponsored thing. It is
sponsored,
it is
no.
$5 for Obsidian. So like, but yeah. So you can go to my LinkedIn page and I say like, here's the plugins I use. But also I'd recommend a YouTube channel that I've become friends with the guy just because I emailed him. I was like, you're cool. Let's chat. Named No Boilerplate is the name of the YouTube channel. No Boilerplate. He's a plugin. He's not a plugin. He's a programmer. He's a Rust programmer, and he talks about second brain stuff. And he has a YouTube video on setting up your Obsidian real nice if you want to have the same, like I base my system off of his. But if you want just like, okay, I'll just want exactly how Akash does it, like you can go to No Boilerplate, and he has a really good video called like Obsidian, the good parts. And he just speed runs you through the setup basically. And it's real nice.
Right. That's Amazing.
Yeah, so good.
We'll check that out. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
And so,
I'm looking at my Obsidian right now. I think I'll just shut it down. I'll minimize it because I'm distracted now.
Yeah, it's just garbage.
Like,
just...
how can I make it better? Yeah.
so when you're working on a project, I mean, you're a freelancer. You work for yourself. You work for companies like Heart Machine. I imagine you're really tracking your time. You're really, because you're doing multiple things at the same time.
Yeah.
So you're using this as a sort of task management tool to keep you in line.
Exactly.
And it kind of makes me think like, okay, so everyone you're working with on Possessors, they're all in-house, I imagine, right? In-house,
a lot of them, yeah, like the vast majority.
folks.
Yeah.
So then what's a day like for you? Let's say while you're working on Possessors, were you working on other stuff? I mean, how did you manage just your day?
Yeah, Possessors was kind of half and half, where like I finish up Hyperlight Breaker, then I switched to Possessors, and for a little bit, all I was working on was Possessors. Then other projects kind of came and went throughout, and then, you know, this thing that I'm doing more audio direction on came during Possessors. So yeah, there's like bouncing around of stuff, also obviously podcast, YouTube, all that stuff that you two do as well, which is, you know, going to conferences, all that happens, you know, mid-project. So what I do typically, and this is like the romantic ideal that never works out, but I kind of try to go towards it as much as possible, is bucketing my days as much as possible. So, you know, Wednesday today, as we're recording, is a meeting heavy day. So I expect to get nothing done other than the meetings. So it'll be like us chatting, I'll chat with other people, blah, 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 blah. Great. If nothing else will get done, that's fine. And then, you know, tomorrow I'll be working on a lot of Wise work. Okay, I'm just going to focus on that. I'm going to bucket it and do what I can on just this Wise part of this project that I'm working on. Okay, great. Friday will be all YouTube. And I just kind of bucket things as best I can. But the thing that helped me the most is accepting the fact that trying to get things done in between other things is a fruitless and exhausting endeavor. So I'll give you an example. Let's say we finish this chat. It's like, you know, 11 a.m. my time. And then at 11:30, I have another meeting. The temptation is, oh, I should try and shove something in here. We all do it. We all try to be like, okay, here's my like to-do list or whatever. I'm going to do that. And then 15 minutes of it is us ramping up to doing the thing. And then we're like, crap, this meeting's here. And now we're angry. So we're just so angry and so mad. And we just don't want to do the thing. And we hate everything. And we're pulled in between these two things. So the big thing for me was, just don't try to get things done in between other things. Just stop it. Just stop it.
Yeah.
And I have, I'll show the camera, but I'll also describe it for audio. I have like all these little timers, like spread out throughout the house. I have like 6 of these just spread out everywhere that you can just turn on and like set to like 15 minutes or whatever. It's like, oh, it's set to like 23 minutes or whatever. And if I am going to goof off, I allow myself to goof off and just set a timer for it. Like, oh, this is 30 minutes of in-between transition time. I'm just going to F around. I'm going to watch a YouTube video on the lore of Doctor Strange. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So I kind of bounce things around like that too. So it's bucketing and transitioning intelligently.
I think it's the commitment. And I feel like I've been on this similar headspace recently. It's the commitment to being like, put it down, do something else. If I actively commit to 20 minutes of break or whatever it may be, I'll be good after that. But if you don't commit, then you're constantly in that in-between zone.
Oh,
yeah.
the in-between's so exhausting. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Sounds like on Possessors, going back to that, you didn't have a lot of that sort of like in between and downtime.
No, it was a lot of just
you can take the little blocks and toss them away.
Yeah, right. Yeah. For Possessors, it was a lot of just like, okay, go. Like I was lucky though, because I didn't have like a ton of other projects happening at the exact same time that were as fast and like needed as much stuff right away. I could do that. But again, that's why I said it's like the romantic ideal, because there are days where it's like, I do need to get 600 things done today. Like that's just what happened because all these deadlines lined up. But generally speaking, that's what I aim towards, is what I just described. But there will be days, many days, where on Possessors, where it's like, we have these animations and go, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It paints a picture.
For sure. I want to pivot maybe. We covered a lot of stuff on sound design. Was there anything else that you wanted to mention? Any other cool sounds that you made? I know the ambience and tonal stuff just um, really hits, and I wonder
Oh,
how much of
thanks.
that is music, how much of that is, more diegetic ambient sound.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is the music. Like Sky Lu did a lot of the more ambient stuff, and Joel
Mm.
Corlitz also helped with the music, but Sky did the majority, I think. But the soundtrack, the ambient soundtrack, is just so banging. It's so good. And you can't really tell because it transitions so smoothly, but there are multiple variations to each ambient track as well, and different moods and different like levels of progress that you've made throughout the level. It'll really subtly change and add different layers and take other layers away as you kind of travel through. So they did an amazing, amazing job with it. And I would often just hit play on Fmod on the ambient soundtrack and just let it go while I designed because it's just so beautiful. It's one of my favorites that I've gotten to hear and work alongside of.
Yeah, it puts you in the mood of the
Yeah.
game, and you know that whatever sound you're making fits along the kind of vibe that the composers are creating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Did music come in first?
It came in
this
very
case?
early, very, very
Right,
early.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, which is great. Like
Okay.
Sky was on it for way like before I was. She was even, thank God, thank you, Sky. When I first got on the project, I was like, everyone's talking about this like this monster. What the hell are they talking about? She's like, oh, they actually renamed it to this, and it's actually here, and it's here in the Unreal project. I'm like, thank you, thank
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
because everyone's calling this monster by its old name, but it has a new name. And it's, if you look for it on Unreal by its old name that everyone's calling it, it doesn't exist. It actually has a new name that no one calls it. So Sky was instrumental in helping me find the truth of things as well.
It's always great to have that person who's been on the project too long almost.
Yes,
where you're like, hey,
yes.
what's this? Oh, yeah, 3 years ago that
Yeah,
was called
yes.
this. And then you're like, oh, okay, well,
Oh,
this is a
wow.
whole world I'm stepping into. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So Sky was on way before I was. Yeah.
Because it really feels like the aesthetic of the game. I feel like listening to this, you can just close your eyes and you like. I feel on my end at least, I would almost see like the same palette of colors and like the like simple textures and everything. It just sounds there in a very like evocative way. So
Yeah, she's really
Yeah.
good at that, like sparse minimalist, but still making it still feel like full and lush. She's so good at that. Yeah, it's just amazing. And having her just like an example I'll give is I remember I was designing a sound, and one piece of feedback she gave, because I used like an instrument in it, and she's like, oh, just so you know, in this world, audio wise, for me, from my point of view, I'm not using any real world instruments because they don't exist in this world. I was like, oh, that's an interesting point. Like she was
Interesting.
so
Cool.
helpful for
Cool.
things like that too. Like I didn't
Yeah.
even think of that. But like it's really, really
Yeah.
cool. Or I think she said specifically
there-
like ethnic instruments, because I used like a sound of like a shamisen in there just as like a subtle layer. And she's like, oh yeah, I've like no ethnic instruments as a rule because they don't exist here in this like Agradyne facility. I was like, oh, that's an interesting thing.
So what kind of things did she build on her end
Yeah, like
in the
she's
music?
yeah, like she's amazing at synthesizers and processing and like
Right. Okay.
like there's this art that she mastered that I don't have down, where you put reverb on something and it's always too much right away. She's so good at making everything sound lush and full and reverberated and distant and ethereal without it sounding muddy or too much. So that I think is like the thing she absolutely nailed, was that in-between line of lushness and bigness without it making sound like it's just mud.
That is a hard thing to achieve.
hard.
yeah.
I mean, it sounds also like there's like the collaboration you had with her and Joel, like the idea of music and sound effects being so in line. Was there any more like I guess, opportunities where you folks were just thinking around and just like, okay, well, besides the ethnic instruments, like, I don't know, maybe on how to deal with specific energies or specific characters that might have like a theme and stuff like that. Was there other areas like that?
Not so much like specific themes like that, but there were a lot of considerations of, I mean, I'll use reverb as a great example. Her stuff sounds really lush, really distant, really cool. And that gave me the freedom to be like, oh, I can make things sharp and up close and really in your face, and they're not going to clash. They're not going to, but I have to be careful not to make things sound too lush, too distant, too reverberated, because then it'll just blend into the music. So because she went in a strong direction and made a strong choice, I was able to make kind of an opposite choice to make it so that there's differentiation between the two. So that was a lot of fun to be able to kind of play off of each other. And she was really good at explaining her thought process of what she was doing at any given time. Like even things like, oh, this is in this key, it's at this, BPM. So like, this is going to be some combat music. So we're going to need things to sound a little faster. She's very good at articulating what she's thinking at any time.
Kind of relationship with a composer is so important. And it's just testament to like, sort of like your example being testament to like, you need to talk to composer. Cause like you can be making sounds that sound great, by themselves. But like you said, if they were too lush, all of a sudden the music comes in and it just sounds like a mess.
It's just a mess.
And I can think of projects out there that, that I've seen where maybe especially on bigger projects where the composer is not integrated into the team the same way because they're an external composer that writes from wherever they are.
Right. Yes.
And then that communication isn't there. And it often is just like, okay, now here's the music right at the end.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
That kind of cohesion is nice.
It's lovely to have somebody that you can trust and who is in-game audio in the sense where they're interested in the interactivity. Like, oh, can I do this? Let's try it. As opposed to, here's some loops,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Sometimes loops are fine.
Sometimes loops are fine. Nothing wrong with a loop, but you can do so much more.
Yeah, totally. Cool. I think, okay, there's one thing I wanted to ask, and maybe we can move on from here. But in terms of story, I mean, a game like this has such an important story. Narrative beats need to really hit. That I find when it comes to a big project can be the most time consuming because you have to be, as a sound designer, you have to be sort of aware of what narrative is doing, what the writers are doing on all these beats, and you want to hit them. You want it to sell the story of the game. Right. So how involved were you guys, being the sound people, with the narrative team? Did you have a lot of breakout meetings where you had to sort of understand either cinematics or in-game narrative beats? Yeah, how was that process?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we were very involved. So I'll give full credit to Alex Johnson, who like kind of spearheaded this chunk. But the two kind of key narrative designers, Tyler and Laura, they were so productive. I am blown away still. Like, how did you write this much and get this much done and get all these cutscenes in and all that sort of stuff? And seeing their organization is just amazing because they were kind of ahead of the team in a good way, where they had like the story down. They knew what each character was going to say when, what the story beats would be, what sorts of sound support they needed. And what was really nice is because they had that in mind, they were able to tell us, like, here's what's coming. Here are the cutscenes that are coming. Here are the sounds that we're going to need to support it. Obviously, you don't have to do sounds for every single like little movement or anything, but here's the romantic ideal of every single thing we could possibly want sound for. Choose the most important ones and put it in. So those two were incredibly helpful in having breakout meetings with them to see like, okay, what's the story? Where's it going? What are the endings? All that sort of stuff. And then thanks to Horacio and Alex, there was like a nice little technical system designed of, okay, here's where we are going to set a bunch of cutscene specific Fmod events that can be queued within these cutscenes so that we know they're separate from the in-game versions. These are like 2D sounds that don't need to be spatialized or placed or anything like that. They're just in the cutscene. They'll sound like they're right in front of you no matter what. And they kind of designed a system of, okay, now we can trigger these sounds during these moments of dialogue or before this boss comes in or things like that. And they were able to kind of flex around and play around with timings, which was really nice. They were able to say things like, oh, this boss is coming in here. Can we add 1 extra second so that the roar can linger for a little longer? And the narrative team was always cool with like, yep, totally. Like I just added an extra second. So that was really nice to have that flexibility and understanding from the narrative team. And because they were so fast, they were able to help us quite a bit when it came to that sort of stuff to support the sound, and weren't, they were never, I can't think of a single time where they said no. They were always willing to just listen to the audio team and be like, yeah, that is a good idea. Let's throw that in. Oh, how about a sound here? Oh yeah, that would be cool. Let's put that in here. So this was near the end of the project, so it wasn't like from the get-go. But the reason they had the freedom to do that is, I think, because they were so organized and so ahead of the curve that they were able to kind of give us those ideas, and that feedback is so helpful.
Yeah, that's the golden spot to be in, where that communication is happening, and it's not just throwing sounds over a fence or even just designing and implementing them yourself. It's that communication, and oftentimes what's needed for a particular moment isn't even sounds. It's just maybe a little mix moment. It's just being aware of what's happening. I love that part of development, because it's just like, it's really where audio and all the other disciplines are sort of swimming in the same pool. Let's say.
Exactly.
Eating the same pizza. No.
Now we have food analogies.
Sorry, Dan. Sorry.
No,
I broke the rule, man. Sorry.
Pizza's fine.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I don't want to.
Was there anything else you wanted to talk about Possessors today, or?
I think I'm sure when we stop, I'll be like, oh, these 10 other things, crap. But like, of course, that's always how it goes. But I mean, you two were very thorough, so I can't think of too much else other than giving shout outs to the rest of the team of Alex, Horacio, Sky, and Joel. One last little thing that I actually want to throw out as just some like cred. So there's Alex, there's Sky, there's Joel, and there's Horacio. And Troop was the composer, or one of the composers on Hyperlight Breaker. He wasn't involved with Possessors, but he, at a clutch moment, we needed voice for the last boss named Dessa, who's a sexy anime demon that you see in the first cutscene. And I was like, damn it, I need like a sexy anime boy voice. Who could I possibly get? And Troop is an amazing voice actor. He's Aragorn and Wormtongue in Lord of the Rings. Like, he's really good. He's extremely talented. So I was like, Troop, help. I need sexy anime boy. And just gave him a list of sounds that I needed, like vocalizations. And he knocked it out of the park. Like, it is the raw file I have from him, I will keep forever, because I'm like, wow, this is like 10 out of 10 anime, like dismissive laughs and humphs and pain grunts. It's just so good. So he came in so clutch for the voice for the last boss.
Amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I look forward to hearing those as I play more of the game. Yeah. So with that, I think we're about to wrap things up here.
Yeah, we've got the final question. Want to go ahead with it, or?
You got it, Dan.
I'll go. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So we always ask that same question. Probably heard it before, but if you were able to give yourself an advice when you got started on Possessors, basically, like, it's not that far back. But what would that advice be?
Ooh. Okay. So I would say one piece of advice is, it's cool, dog. It'll work out. Because it was such a short time period, so it was very like harrowing, And even though we've all done this before, where it's down to the wire and things are last minute and getting done at the last second, it always works out. But you always wonder, is this the time? Is this the time where it all falls apart? No, it's not. So I would say, it's fine, dog. You're gonna be fine. It's gonna work out. It's gonna release, and it will be complete, and it's good. And then I think another thing is, I would say, is like, just like basically similar to Drifter, where it's like, just wait to the end, it'll all gel, like the sounds will come together. Because it was the same sort of thing, because everything had to be done quickly. It was sounding pretty bad, at least from my opinion, like not disparaging anyone else. Like, this is from my point of view, sound design wise, because it just wasn't gelling right away, because I was just stubbing everything in at first. So it was kind of a mess for a while, and just trust. It's going to be fine once you kind of redo these stubs or tweak, and everything starts to, you get direction and you get, ideas from Alex and all that sort of stuff. It will gel together. Don't worry. You're fine.
It's an amazing piece of advice. I feel like we I guess we don't think about it, but that final period of a project, like we were like chatting about before, where everything comes together.
Yeah.
Basically, It's Fine Dog is like, trust this part of the process from what I hear.
Exactly.
Like,
and
it'll automatically fix itself.
as long as you keep going, it'll fix itself. And also, you also have a team with you. It's not just you, and it becomes very easy to focus too much on your little silo and be like, I have to do all this. Like, no, you have a team. You can ask for feedback and advice and all that sort of stuff too.
Yeah. Yeah, and get you out of a tunnel vision if you are in it. And always after the project, you look at those moments and you're like, why did I tunnel vision on this?
Yeah.
This tiny detail makes no difference, but
exactly. Yes.
It's all good, dog. Yeah. Well, all right. Thank you so much, Akash, for taking the time to chat with us and filling our heads with so much knowledge.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Well, all right. Have a good rest of your day, and hopefully you turn that clock on to give you 30 minutes of break before the next thing. And take care.
Good luck with the research on Doctor Strange and all that stuff.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I have a lot of X-Men to read, so.
Nice. All right. Thank you.
Have fun.
Bye.
All right. Hey.